I have to
I
turn
tried to
down
turn
that
away.
volume.
I tried to turn away from the microphone.
Well, it was loud for a little bit, and then it went away.
Well, yeah.
Like, because you started here, and that's how physics
Okay, I'll
works.
do it right this time. Ready?
Okay.
Woo! How was that? It was better.
That was good.
Yeah.
It's still kind of loud, but, you know, that's gotta give what the fans want.
Right.
Fans want that.
Right.
So it's not Halloween anymore, guys.
Halloween is over now.
Finally. We ate so
finally.
much chocolate.
We ate. Ooh, our tummies are just full with chocolate.
I had to go to the dentist so much last few days.
I like how we sort of like gracefully intertwine bits that are just, it's just like lying a little bit.
We are lying because it's not Halloween, but it's all for the jokes.
But it is.
I think it's lying for a good cause though, because it's making people laugh.
Okay, I got a good little tidbit to pull out of nowhere. So there was an episode. You ever see that show Phil of the Future? Do you remember that one?
Is that on Disney Channel?
Yeah.
I know.
Really weird.
I don't know if I ever saw it though.
Kind of surreal show, but I remember.
Okay, so I remember.
What were you
now.
gonna say?
I remember the show now.
Yeah. Well, first of all, his name was Phil Diffie.
His real name?
No, the character's name was Phil Diffie.
Okay.
And his sister's name was Pim. And her catchphrase was cripes. Like when something went wrong, she'd be like, cripes.
Cripes! That's so strange.
I know.
Who thought of that one?
It was a weird show. I remember seeing like the series finale.
Wow, you're really into it.
I just remember it. I wasn't.
No, what a
whatever.
show I was into.
Don't make
that's
fun of me.
why
I have one more thing to say about Phil of the Future that relates back to what we were talking about. That was the whole reason I brought this up. There was a scene in one episode where it was an acting class, and this guy says, and teacher says, acting is lying, but also telling the truth.
What was his reasoning for that? Do you remember?
Think about it. If you're an actor,
you're
you're lying because it's not really you, but it's the truth for your character.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's a clever guy.
It's one of those weird little things that I picked up really vaguely at some point in life, and sometimes it comes back to me, and I think about that, and I'm like, you know what? He's got something there.
It has like no real impact on your life.
It really had no. It wasn't even a plot point or anything in the episode. It was just, as somebody's walking by, the acting teacher says this line, and I remember this for some reason.
If you're a real crazy person, you would look up that guy, that actor who said it, go to his house, and just really, like, give him a hug, be like, yo, dude, I remember what you said on Phil of the Future.
Look up the actor and then tweet at him. I'll do it.
That's less crazy, but you can do that too.
I have no idea how I would get that information because I doubt
Phil
of the Future is like streaming or anything.
Yeah, I don't think.
Well, Disney is supposed to come out with a streaming service that was going to have all the Disney shows on it. So I'm actually kind of interested.
Disney or all Disney shows?
All Disney properties ever. So like they're supposed to have all the Disney movies, all of the Disney Channel.
Dude, I would love to see Luck of the Irish.
Ooh, good call.
Man, I loved that show or movie as
I remember that one.
Or I watched I'm sure you saw the Boogeyman show. I don't remember the name of it.
Don't Look Under the Bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. That movie genuinely scared me.
Yeah, me too. But I saw it like not too long ago, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, and it was awful.
I'm sure it's bad. There's a scene that I remember. Again, I always remember vague details about stuff. There's a scene in that movie.
Sorry.
Yeah, that scene with like the boogeyman is like she turns in. Does she turn in? No, it's her friend.
It's
Larry. I don't know if that's his name, but he played Larry in Even Stevens.
Oh. The boogeyman.
The guy, her friend, turns into the boogeyman at the end.
Oh,
for a brief.
The black guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember that. Yeah.
So anyway. Totally. There's a scene in that movie where it's like weird stuff is happening around school. And so it says like there's like stuff written on the lockers of spray paint and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then one of the weird things that happens is the school's pool turns into Jell-O.
Oh yeah,
I
remember that.
And the girl jumps in and it's just her sticking halfway out of Jell-O. And I was like, and now that I think about it, that's really a surreal thing. Like Salvador Dali type shit. Like, what is that?
We should
watch that scene.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
See, that's a cool thing that we should eventually do on the podcast.
Remake the entire Don't Look Under the Bed movie.
That would be interesting. But whenever we have good ideas like this, we should do it on air, and then comment on it.
What do you mean, do it on air?
Like we just look at that scene and be like, "Whoa, the Crimson Joy."
Whoa. Anyway, that's my reaction.
Yeah.
Okay, so actual theme for this episode.
I feel like I was gonna get into something. Okay, go. Sorry.
We're gonna go through our favorite films, albums, games, and books. Top 5s for all those categories. Yeah. And I want to try and guess some of yours before you get into them. Maybe you can do that for me too, because at least movies, I think we have a good enough handle on each other's taste.
Just disclaimer. I don't think these things maybe the books could be like my top 5 favorite books, but the rest of them I can't like wholeheartedly say they're my favorite.
Okay.
Just a disclaimer. Okay. But they are the first things that came to my mind, pretty much.
Let's start with movies.
Okay. I'm gonna guess.
Okay.
I'll try and guess at least one.
I think you know a couple of them for sure.
Oh my god.
This is the friendship test. This is how we determine.
I feel like I can.
If you're really my friend.
See it in my head.
I know you know what my favorite movie is.
I know. I feel like I know. I do. Okay, I'm gonna say one of them maybe Blue Velvet.
Ooh, good call. Yes, I did write down Blue Velvet. But that was
do 4 more. It's hard.
Blue Velvet was something I decided on recently. Like recently, I was kind of thinking, like, you know what? Blue Velvet, probably one of my favorite.
Really?
Movies. Yeah, because that was something I decided. Because I always just kind of liked David Lynch overall. I didn't really think oh, this is the one movie, because he's just great overall, like throughout his whole career. But I was thinking, like, especially doing this project that I'm doing right now with him, I was like, man, Blue Velvet is really for me, it is his ultimate statement of, like, the things that he seems to be interested in. Like, he seems to tackle every single thing that he's interested in from, like, just from an artist's perspective.
And he does it in an interesting way, because that movie seemed to be his most popular movie, so probably the most people saw it.
It's not the weirdest, but it's also not the most normal.
Yeah.
You know? So, that's cool. But I think there's one movie that is really obvious that you...
I can't think of right now.
Okay. Well, all right. So you got one.
I'm gonna be like, oh yeah.
Okay. I have a couple guesses for you. Okay. So the one you mentioned beforehand that you knew, that there was one movie that you were like, you're not gonna like this, and you're like, because you give this movie shit all the time, but I like it. And here's my guess. Is it La La Land?
Oh no! Oh fuck! I should have wrote that down. No, it's not.
Shit. La La Land. Okay, but it was a good guess because you.
It was a good guess. I completely forgot about that movie. Holy shit. I don't know if I'd say.
I don't think
it is one of my favorites. I didn't think about it though.
I think that is a really divisive movie. At this point in time, that movie is like really divides people.
You think why?
Because I see a lot of people who just hate it, and I see a lot of people who love it. Like my sister loves it. Last time I watched it, I was like, okay, this is.
Do you think it's because it's a musical, and some people hate it because it's a musical?
I don't like musicals, but I'm fine with the musical aspect of that movie. That isn't my complaint.
Oh.
So, like, for me...
Do you hate it, though?
I don't hate it.
You just don't.
I like a lot of it, but there is something... I guess overall, I just see it as a little bit shallow. And it's like... But I think that might be also the point, you know? Like, it's a really, like... It's a big homage to Hollywood musicals and things. So, I kind of get it. But I also feel like, at the end of the day, what you're making is... You know, I don't know. It's kind of it's like ooh, reach for your dreams and.
I don't know if you told me this or it might have been my mom, but there's a movie that he pretty much based that movie off of, like a old French movie that's like the same movie.
Oh, I don't know that.
Yeah, I think my mom told me about it. I don't know if she saw it, but yeah. So he Tarantino'd that shit.
Okay, well, anyway, moving on.
Yeah. Do you have another guess?
Did you put down The Holy Mountain?
No, I didn't. That was a good one. I should have put that down too.
Ooh.
See, I think my list is dog shit.
But... did you put down? Fuck.
Maybe you won't get this one.
You put down School of Rock.
No.
See, I know you better
God
than you
damn
do.
it.
I know.
Shit.
Okay, those are my guesses. Those are my 3.
Those are some good ass guesses. Probably better than my guesses.
Yeah, but I know what your favorite movies are.
Okay, so my... Oh, did we say our movies yet?
Yeah, let's just go through the list now.
Okay, you go first.
All right, so I wrote down
Blue Velvet.
Blue Velvet. Donnie Darko was the one.
Oh, yes!
I figured you would guess that.
Damn, I completely forgot. Okay.
Just because... And, like,
Yeah.
I hate admitting that it's my favorite movie. You know, because, like,
Why, you
so
think
many
it's a cliche?
people give it shit, you know, and people give people who... Yeah,
It's
people
a
give it
good movie,
shit.
though.
I know.
Man.
People give that movie shit, and they give people who like that movie shit. I totally... Because it's a movie that, like, is... I think if I had to criticize it, there's some aspect of it, at least to a lot of people, that seems to be like, this is deep because I'm too young to know what deep is or something. But, like, for me, like, man, every time I watch it, I'm totally into it again. You know, like, there has been, like, virtually no other movies that I've seen where it just, like, the moment I saw it, which I was 17 at the time, and I think that's a huge factor in this, but, like, every time I watch it, I'm still like, wow, this is a great movie, and it's funny, and it's sad, and it's stylish, and it's fun, and everything. Everything is working for me with that movie. So, I don't know. Social Network.
Oh. I didn't know you've mentioned that to me a few times.
Yeah, that for me is also a perfect film, but in a sort of different way, because it's like, that is like a really like, it's not a very emotional movie. It's like, it is movie, it's screenwriting. It's a script movie. It's a writing movie, and it's a performance movie. And like,
it's not much of an experimental type of movie. Like, Donnie Darko still has like some experimentally type qualities to it. Social Network seems pretty straightforward. Yeah,
it's pretty straightforward biopic type thing. But like, again, I think it's every detail is just perfect. Like, every actor in it's great. And for me, the script is the best script ever written. Like, I think it's amazing. The dialogue is incredible. And then I wrote down Life Aquatic, which is a movie I haven't seen in a while, but I always, when I think about it, I'm like, man, every time I watch that is really like an emotional experience for me. And I love that movie, but I haven't seen it in a while because, like, I'm really hesitant to go back and rewatch Wes Anderson's movies just because I don't want to get tired of them. I want to savor them.
Yeah, that's a good call.
And then Blue Velvet, and then another new addition, like something I've just kind of reconsidered over the past few months, because like movies is something I'm thinking about every day, obviously. So it's like, so it's kind of it's a new thing. But I wrote down End of Evangelion is gonna be my number 5.
Man, see, you put a lot of thought into these.
That's like, because I keep track of everything I watch, and I'm aware of how I feel about everything in very particular terms. So
yeah, you do. I was thinking about this today, about something I need to work on. I think kind of doing this podcast and listening back to it made me more aware of it, but I've always been kind of aware of it. I need to be more, because you do a really good job of using words to voice how you, like, what's going on in your head, like your thoughts and your feelings and stuff.
Yeah, for better or worse.
For better or worse, yeah. And I can't, like, it's hard for my words to go, so I've been trying to, it's off topic, but.
Yeah. I've heard it all before.
My top 5 movies.
That you wrote down. Probably.
That I wrote down.
Things that just came to you.
Yeah. Which, it would, maybe I should think about getting a letterbox, because that would be, then I would know all these movies that I've seen.
Ooh, good plug. Yeah. Check me out on Letterboxd. I'm going to put my link in the description. Follow me on Letterboxd.
I didn't know you could follow. That's cool.
Yeah, that's what I think is fun about Letterboxd. Also, Letterboxd, please sponsor us. because look what we're doing here.
We're giving.
You follow people and you can comment on posts
and you don't have to pay for it, right?
No, there isn't.
Free?
It's free. And there's options to pay for it where you get some bonus features. Like one thing, I did pay for it once.
Yeah.
I got a year subscription that was $20.
That's not bad though.
And it let me do some like kind of fun stuff. Like actually, now that I think about it, I don't know what it may let me do other than at the end of the year it gives you like a really cool like graphic breakdown of like your most watched director is this guy, and
that's cool.
Your most liked review is this, and it's just like this long breakdown of like
that they don't give you if you don't pay for it.
But I also felt good just giving them money because it's a website I really love. So
yeah. So first movie on my list is Midnight in Paris.
Okay.
Because first of all,
is this the one you thought I was gonna give that I give shit?
No.
Okay. I'm waiting.
Maybe you would have, but Midnight in Paris
not gonna be as bad as I think.
I know. Midnight in Paris was that could maybe be counted as the first thing that led me to wanting to do art, and also led me to know about
Was this before you saw like the de Kooning painting? Because you said
no, it might have been afterwards, but I just remember watching that movie and being like, "Whoa, art and like writing and stuff is a thing." And like for some reason, the way they did it,
it's really romantic. Yeah.
Yeah, it made me like maybe think about writing and art in a romantic way, which could have been bad or good.
Yeah.
Who knows? But so that's the top one. Second one is a recent watch, and I think it's one of my favorites. Is Paris, Texas.
Ooh, good movie.
That movie fucking hit me.
Yeah, man. I was glad we watched that because I know it took a while because I was kind of intimidated because I was
intimidated too.
But man, really incredible, unique movie and shot really well and emotional and it doesn't drag and it's great.
Art. It's an artsy movie in the best way. Like it's so it's not off-putting artsy at all.
No.
Which even like maybe some of David Lynch's things could be off-putting to some people.
Yeah, Inland Empire is extremely
Oh my god, yeah. But that's the most crazy one.
Yeah.
So the third one, which I think you would not appreciate, is Pulp Fiction.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't like if you like Pulp Fiction, I don't like. I'm not gonna be like you have bad taste.
Yeah.
I think it's a good movie, but I just have personal.
One of the reasons why I put it on my top favorite movies was because it was one of the first movies that I saw that was kind of like outside the mainstream shit that I watched. Like it was one of those first ones where it kind of led me out of it. So that's why I put it in there. And fourth one, I put Eraserhead. Okay, I think that might be my first artsy movie I saw.
Yeah.
And I still like. Every time I watch, I get something new from it, and I see something different.
Yeah.
And it's just great to see, like, that's the first fucking feature film that David Lynch made. Like, goddamn.
Yeah.
It's insane.
The first time I saw it, I thought, wow, that was just really weird. Like, I didn't know that people made movies like this. Second time I watched it, which it was probably a gap of like 5 years.
Was that when we watched it together?
Yeah, just like a few months ago. I was thinking like, man, every single frame of this has so much work in it and like such dedication to the image and like
the image.
Yeah, it's just.
I always noticed
really
this last time we watched it. I noticed the sound. I'm like, the sound he integrates in this creates this world in such an interesting way.
Yeah.
But the first time I saw it was I was high, like super high, ridiculously high with my friend in his attic. And we watched it in the dark, and it's frightened me. Like I felt so anxious and like.
That sounds like a super. I mean, like I bet. Did you get over the anxiety after a while?
Yeah, I mean, it was. It just freaked me out for it. But it was an interesting scary because it wasn't like a horror or jumpy scary. It was just like ensconced scary. Like I couldn't leave it. And then my last movie I think is Superbad.
I know that's a great film. That's a 5-star movie for me.
It's still like the only. It's such a unique comedy movie that they don't make comedies like that ever.
Okay, yeah, no, I mean, that movie was really inspiring for me when I was 18 because the first time I had seen it, and I don't think I saw it I don't remember if I'd seen all of it at the time or not, but I remember watching it with one of my friends at his house, and he had a really strict Christian family.
Oh no.
And yeah, and they put it on because they rented it, and I don't think the parents knew what it was.
Shit.
And so it's like the first few scenes, there's like them walking into the convenience store, which is an amazing dialogue scene.
Yeah.
And it's just them talking about like
boobs.
Yeah, boobs and
like,
pussy and
boners.
dicks and boners and stuff.
What if there was
And
a
then his mom was like, "What are you watching?" And it was just one of those classic moments. But then when I saw it again, I thought I didn't really. I don't think I got it at the time.
Yeah.
I was probably like 14 or 15.
Oh, okay.
When I saw it when I was 18, and it was like my senior year of high school, which is what is going on in the movie.
Uh-huh.
I was like really connecting with it. And I was like, man, this is so true to life. And not necessarily that like, you know, like all I do is walk around and talk about sex, but with my friends, but it's like there's a lot of things in there, like just the idea of like, man, all of a sudden all of our struggles are about like how do we get alcohol and how do we like impress girls and how to like and like we don't give a shit about school anymore. That's not what it's about, and just like stuff like that, and like that really
the almost deeper thing of not losing a friend, but just like getting away from your friends substantially. Like me a little different because I stayed in that area after I got out of high school, but you went straight to KU, so a whole other state. Yeah,
and what I found was, like, we all thought that was what was happening when we graduated.
That you guys would be done.
Like, yeah, I don't know who's gonna listen to this, but I'll call out some names a little bit. But like, there was a really fucking intense night, the last night of summer before I left for college.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, me and Lewis really connected. And so like there was, I don't know, we like cried together and stuff. Like it was like intense.
Wow.
And but like at the end of the day, it wasn't actually that much of a separation. Like all my friends, we still all see each other. We've since kind of, I mean, some of us have grown apart and stuff, but it's like, I don't know, it didn't really actually happen the way we thought it was, you know. So
if anything, at least what I've noticed from actually leaving, it almost brought me closer to some friends, or some friends went away that like I didn't really need anyways.
Being away from your friends makes you appreciate your friends a lot.
Yeah.
Unless or the opposite. I know some friends who have totally decided to unappreciate their friends because they moved away. But all right,
on to the next. Did you put albums next?
I did put albums next, but
that's what I did.
Maybe we should save that for last. The most interesting, at least in my opinion.
Okay. Do you want to do games?
Let's do games. Okay, so.
Actually, I think I can guess one of yours.
Okay.
20 Hawks Underground.
Yeah.
Boom.
Okay, so I wrote down 20 Hawks Underground.
Straight into it.
Let's get into it. Pete Holmes. Let's get into it. So I've been playing. I played Tony Hawk's Underground all the way through recently, and it's probably been.
You beat it, the game.
Yeah, I beat the game. I beat the game in like 2 days. It's a really short game.
Oh wow.
Which I had a major moment of like, man, my perspective now is totally different from when I was younger. And like, I still love those games, and I think that's the best example of those games.
Yeah.
But playing that, and I played a lot of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 again, which are both games I grew up with. I was probably like, probably 9, 10, 11 years old when I was playing these on GameCube, mind you, because GameCube is awesome, and I don't get why people don't like GameCube. That's apparently a thing. But what I realize now is like those games have very little substance sometimes. Like you will play and like it's just like get a high score, and like once you're good at the game, there's no challenge. It's just like get a high score, and I'm like, okay, I know how to do this. Like I'll just manual and do like a lot of tricks there, and then I'll grind in a circle as long as I can, and just like.
Or just do
a lot of that stuff was exactly, and it just gets like it's like pretty lame now that I'm older and I
Yeah.
know how it works. But like when I was a kid, I was just like, I just engrossed in those, and like I still like them, and I could totally play them
so now it's
anytime.
kind of like a memory thing. Like
Yeah,
that
it's
is.
more of a memory thing now.
Mhm.
So, I I heard you say the word FIFA aloud, so I know you
Oh,
wrote
yeah.
down FIFA.
Which FIFA?
That's a good question.
I don't really even know.
I don't really have any other guesses because I don't know any other games you played, but uh, you want to start with the list? You can start with your list this time.
First one I thought of was Halo 4.
Okay.
That game is it Halo 4 or 3? Honestly, I don't remember.
What happens in it? Because I can tell you which one it is.
Okay, I just remember there's one map where there's like 2 big towers in like a big field. And there's mountains surrounding you. I'm thinking of like a deathmatch thing, or if you're like fighting each other. And then there's banshees. You can use banshees a lot.
Oh, I know what you're
This
talking
is
about.
Halo 4 though, right?
That map was in a couple games. I think
Oh,
you're
okay.
talking about like an online thing.
It could be online, but usually I would just
Where there was 2 like big structures on both ends, and there's
Yes.
like a banshee on each side.
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah, that was in.
that 3
I think
and
that was
4?
3,
Okay, maybe I
but
was.
I'm pretty sure that was 3.
Okay, then Halo 3, but I mean Halo 4 I assume wasn't that much different.
Actually, it kind of was.
Really?
Halo 4 kind of went in a different direction. It kind of restarted everything.
So Halo 3, but like, man, that game was so much fun. We would stay up so late, me and my friends, and just kill the shit out of each other. That was the first game I played live on too.
Yeah.
And it was fun just to talk shit to random strangers.
I think that might have been
for no
my first
reason.
too. Fun fact: I also wrote Halo 3 as one of my top games.
Oh, dude, that would be so. Do you have Halo 3?
I have the Master Chief Collection, but I think it's at home.
Damn.
So
Next time you go home, you're gonna have to bring it. Actually, there probably won't be a next time.
Yeah, there won't be a next time.
Shit.
So.
So there's that one. The second one, I wrote FIFA 14, but
Okay.
honestly,
They're all the same.
they're pretty much all the same. But I'm trying to think, maybe with different like character dudes. The last one I played, I think, was probably FIFA 17, but that wasn't mine. That was your version.
Right.
That was yours. But either way, FIFA was still super amazing. The third one I wrote, which I don't even remember the exact title, but it was a Jurassic Park game where you could create your own park, Jurassic Park, and dinosaurs. Okay. And it sounded, now that I think about it, it's kind of like Minecraft where you create shit, but you're just creating a Jurassic Park and you're like the head guy. And I think it's I don't know what you call this, but you overlook.
When did you play this?
Maybe in like 7th or 8th grade.
Oh, okay. Because there's a newer game that literally is Minecraft, but like with dinosaurs.
Oh wow! Okay.
It's called Ark.
That would be fun. I wonder if it's anything like this.
It's really detailed and strategic and shit. But
that would be fun to play actually.
It's free, so if you had an Xbox or a PlayStation.
Oh, okay.
I'm not downloading that shit.
I don't have either of those.
My friends all play that and they want me to play it, but I won't.
Why
Go
not?
on.
It's okay. We'll get into that.
I don't like Minecraft.
I've never played it.
I want to put that out there.
I never played it. But it sounds boring. That's the only comparison I could think of.
I don't.
Fourth game I put was Need for Speed Most Wanted. And the only thing I can tell you is that on the cover there's just a cool ass BMW going like down this mountain thing. But it's so much fun just to like race and get cool cars and like get your pink slip. Like that's what happens if you beat someone in a race. Like, you got a pink slip.
See, that's basic. Okay, like that is like what Fast and Furious is.
Yeah, see, Fast and Furious is fun in game form. Movies, not fun.
Well, you haven't seen any of them, so.
I've seen some of them.
Which one?
At least the first one I know. And at least one other one.
I thought you hadn't seen it. You wanted to watch it the other night.
Yeah, I know, just to like get back. I don't remember.
Just get back into the
I miss Paul Walker a lot.
Yeah.
Every day I just wake up crying.
Like, oh man.
Paul Walker. Fourth, or the last one, I put, which I guess they can go back and forth, but Call of Duty World War II. I just remember playing that game. It was either World War
World
II.
World at
Maybe
War.
it's World at War.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember playing that game a lot, like in middle school or early
That was the
high
first
school.
one with zombies in it.
Yeah. Or maybe, hold on, maybe it wasn't World at War. It was the one where you're like, it simulated one of the world wars, like World War One or World War Two.
World at War was World War II. It was the first game that had Nazi zombies in it. And then...
maybe it wasn't that.
But there were older... So, like, basically, until Modern Warfare, they did only World War II games, essentially.
Okay. Then
so there was a lot of them.
It was before Modern Warfare. So, I don't remember the exact title. But Modern Warfare is pretty fucking fun, too.
Yeah. Modern Warfare 2 is definitely is up there for me.
Yeah, my friend has that one. We play it every time I go back there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Call of Duty games are just really fun.
I'm not really fucking with Call of Duty so much anymore, but...
Oh, really?
I like, I don't really like that genre as much, but the few ones that I did end up playing, I like I came to like Battlefield a little bit more.
Never played that.
But, it's the same game.
Oh.
The only difference is that Battlefield is, like, they have bigger maps, and it's a little bit more detailed. Like, you can change your guns a lot more, and like, if you're a sniper, you have to account for, like, drop and stuff, which maybe Modern Warfare has updated itself to that point, because I haven't played any of the Call of Duty games in a while, but...
Damn.
But there was a stretch there. I played Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops, and...
Ooh, Black Ops was fun. What
was after that? I guess it was Modern Warfare 3. I played barely, and since then I haven't played.
So there's my things.
Okay.
Let's hear your...
So you already know I got Tony Hawk's Underground.
Yeah.
I kind of want to just say Tony Hawk's games in general because I like them, but if I had to pick one, it's Underground. And then Halo 3. I also really liked the original Halo. And that,
so do I.
The original Halo, I liked the campaign a lot. I guess Halo 3, I liked the campaign a lot too. But, I mean, by the time 3 was out, it was, like, all about the multiplayer. So, and I have fond memories of playing Halo 3 and the other Halos.
I've never beat any of the games on campaign, but the campaign was fun.
3's campaign is awesome. And the originals is, like, classic to me. Like, I played it so many times where I felt like it's really, like, I remember the levels really
Did you ever get, like, freaked out? I remember getting kind of scared, like, oh, fuck, there's
the flood and stuff?
Yeah, like...
Yeah. Star Fox 64.
I've never played that.
We played it a little bit, didn't we? When I brought up that
Maybe I just saw you play it.
Yeah. Which is another game where it's just, like, I could play it till I die. Like, it's a game that is intended for replayability.
Oh.
And, like, it's like there's it's like this solar system and you have to go through 9 planets, but, like, there's 3 different sort of, like, paths and you can go between them. So there's a lot of different combinations of planets you can go through, and each of them has certain, like, secrets in it, and they all have a boss and stuff like that. And it just, like, when I was younger, it just made sense. And, like, I just had a lot of fun with it, so... It's another game. It's like I played a lot of N64 with my brother, and that was one that, like, I specifically remember, like, we would, like, do a campaign together, and, like, I'd play one and then he'd play one and stuff like that. And then I wrote Super Mario RPG, which was for the Super Nintendo, which is it was supposed to be a really rare game, but I think they've re-released it now they did a Super Nintendo Classic thing where it was like they basically put out the Super Nintendo again, but, like, it has HDMI and stuff. But it used to be rare, and it's really cool because it's like Final Fantasy but with Mario. So, like, you, like, build a team, and then it's like a turn-based combat system. So you'll encounter a bad guy, and then you take turns with all your fighters, and then they take turns with their fighters, and you, like, pick moves, and you can use items and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
And it was...
That sounds like a strategy type thing, is it?
Kind of. I mean, the fighting is...
Yeah.
But what was cool about that game was it really went outside the normal Mario stuff because, I mean, like, you've got Mario, and you've got Peach and Bowser. And, like, Bowser's the ultimate bad guy, obviously. But,
that's
like,
the turtle thing, right? Doesn't he have, like, a big shell or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and then... Sorry. And then yeah, so like it's the same old like Rescue Peach type thing, but like you meet all these characters who are totally like original for that game.
Uh-huh.
So there's like one guy who's his name is Mallow, and he looks like a cloud, but he was raised by frogs. And there's like a place that you can go where it's all these frogs that are just like living in a community, and it's like a whole thing. And like Mallow was raised there, but like by the end you find out he is a cloud. So you're like, he was born as a cloud with the cloud people. It's like it's kind of weird and fun. And then there's a character named Gino, who's like basically like Pinocchio. He's like a doll, but he's a wizard. It's a doll. It's a wizard doll made out of wood. And when you go into the forest and like you meet Gino and he's somebody's toy, but then he becomes a real boy and it's like he fights
so
with
it is
you.
Pinocchio.
Yeah, kind of. And but he's a wizard.
Whoa.
Yeah. So and there's that, and then there's like it's just all these levels are super distinct and original and fun. It's like not many people have played the game though. So
so you're one of few people.
We just happen to have a copy of it, so that's something I played on Super Nintendo. And then the last thing I wrote was Red Dead Redemption. I don't know if you played Red Dead Redemption, but
I think I've heard of it. What is it?
It's a Rockstar game release, so it's like Grand Theft Auto, but like set in the Old West, kind of. But it's got a really compelling story, and so it follows like, and I don't know. I just had a ton of fun. Like, I like open world games because I can like fuck around and be evil and stuff. Like in Red Dead, there's this thing where you can like slow down time for a second. It's called like Deadshot Eye or Bullseye or something, and you can like slow down time for a second, and then you like pick a bunch of targets, and so like you just pull out your gun and you can shoot like 6 times really fast. So like what I would do is like I'd save and then I'd go into a bar and then just see all the people in there and just shoot all of them.
Oh my god.
Because it was, I don't know, it's like when you given the option to be bad in a video game, it's like you have to.
Man, that's
and
so crazy.
and so and then like what's funny is there's a morale meter and the game's different based on if you're a really bad person or if you're a good person.
Yeah.
And I always like to like usually, like, I'm being real, I will usually push my character to be a good person because I find that a lot of games reward you more for being a good person. But in this game, I decided to go the opposite, and I was the ultimate evil person. So I would just kill people, and I used to kill horses a lot. Like, you shoot horses.
God.
I don't know, I thought it was, like, it was funny to, like, not kill the guy on the horse and just kill his horse, and then he's just, like, totally lost.
It's like, what?
Yeah, and then eventually, once you get to pure evil, you get to the total opposite end of the spectrum. You call for your horse, and it'll say, "A dark horse has responded to your call." And then this, like, black horse rolls up, and you just have a black horse.
Oh,
and I always thought that was cool, because it was like,
cool
you get the dark horse. You're so evil that, like, like
it still rewards you for
biblical
being evil.
horse is rode up with to, like, be your horse. So
maybe that's how, like, Columbine happened.
Okay. Anyway,
oh, was that your last one?
Yeah, that was it.
Okay, so we'll get to books.
Okay.
I'm interested to hear what books you put down. I don't know.
I honestly just haven't read a lot of books, and it makes me feel stupid for not having read books because there's a lot of books I would like to gain the information from.
Yeah.
But I just can't get myself to like sit down and pay attention and relax. Probably an ADD kind of situation.
Hard. Like for me, at least, either I have to schedule it in, or it's like. First of all, I have to read in silence. Like if anything's going on, it's hard. It's so hard for me to concentrate. But like the initial step is really difficult. But then once I get to the book, it's a bit more smooth sailing.
Anyway, so there is a book that when people ask me what my favorite book is, this is my answer, and it's Lords of Chaos, which is this book about the second wave of Norwegian black metal musicians.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is about Varg Vikernes and the band Mayhem, but also various black metal musicians from the early 90s in Norway. And When I read it, it was a lot more than just that, though. I was really interested in those stories, but what the book kind of started to deviate into, like after it got all that out of the way, it kind of started getting into like spirituality and specifically like Norse mythology and how it interacts with um, like spirituality and but also politics and Satanism and neo Nazis and just a lot of different stuff that I thought was really interesting. But for the most part, it was the thing that I finally, when I put the book down, I kind of started to think about maybe what I believed about like
Satanism.
Well, I don't consider myself a Satanist. I think that's a super lame term, unfortunately. As unfortunate as that is for the Church of Satanism, because I don't think that they're really. I think what they're doing is fine. Like they're pretty chill. Like if you don't follow Church of Satan on Twitter, do it because they're hilarious. They have a Twitter and they will like tweet at people and they'll goof on people who who clearly don't understand what Church of Satan is and stuff. I read a little bit of the Satanism literature, and I just didn't really like. At the end of the day, I didn't really connect with it. But like it made me think about what I believe and stuff like that, and that was when I probably first started to think about how I was raised in the church and stuff like that, and like it was never a big deal for me. It wasn't so dramatic as like who am I or anything. I was just like, okay, well, I think this was probably a good thing for me in some ways, but as far as what I believe, I don't think I know. I don't think I can know or something like that. So that was kind of what it prompted me to do. So that was like important to me. And also it took that from the context of a really interesting story about musicians and performance and mythology and how all this stuff and also history with World War II and Nazis and things and like blended that all together in a way that I really liked. So that was a cool that was a good book for me.
That does sound really interesting.
And then I just wrote down Harry Potter because I like Harry Potter.
Anyone in particular? Have you read all of them?
Yeah, I read them all. But when I was younger.
Yeah.
Like I said, I haven't read many books probably since I was in school. So, like in primary school. So Harry Potter. If I had to pick one, I think I feel like I enjoyed reading Half-Blood Prince the most.
Yeah.
Of the movies, I think it's between Order of the Phoenix and Half-Blood Prince. Actually, Goblet of Fire is pretty awesome. I like Goblet of Fire because it's weirdly like teen drama type stuff. But if I think I'm gonna go with Half-Blood Prince if I had to pick one. And then I wrote Catcher in the Rye.
Oh yeah.
Because that was like another book that I read.
That was interesting.
Probably, I think I was like going into senior year of high school.
Did you read that in school?
No, I read it by myself.
So did I, but I know a lot of people who read it in school. Like it was
but that was a book that was really cool because I felt like when I was reading it for the first half, I was like, I don't really get what's going on here. Like, it seems a little bit whiny and stuff like that. But then, like by the halfway through, there was one particular scene that made me kind of like put it all together, and it became really like. I felt really like put in. I don't know. It just like it changed stuff for me. It was like there's a scene where he's basically talking about how why people care about movie stars. And also about why people care about cars so much.
Oh,
and it's like if cars get dents in them, then people like freak out, and they're like, "Oh, my car" and stuff. And like that was something I had remembered thinking before reading this is like I never understood. Like if theoretically everybody was just like, "All right, look, cars are gonna get dented. It's no big deal. We all drive them, whatever."
Yeah.
Then there would be so much less stress in some people's lives, you know? Like, I was just always thinking, like, it's so dumb to worry about how, like, cool your car looks. At least to me. That's just something I never understood. My car looks like a piece of shit right now. And it is a piece of shit. So it's like, I just never cared. I never cared about cars. And, like, that was just something that spoke to me at the time. And that, like, thinking about that, like, made me all of a sudden, all of the things started unlocking in my brain. And I was, like, understanding the book all of a sudden. And so, like, by the time I finished it, I was like, wow, okay. And it's like, you know, this is a book that a lot of people love and all that. So, again, I don't read a lot of books, but it was important for me at the time. And then, honestly, I couldn't think of anything else. So, the last two books I read which were both good, which were one was called The Big Rewind, which was by
what was the book about?
Shit, I forget his name. It was a memoir of this guy who was one of the Nathan Rabin, that was his name. He was a writer for The Onion.
Yeah.
At one point, and he also was on a film review show briefly, and he currently writes for like AV Club and some other places, but he's just basically a film critic.
Oh, okay.
But this book was basically a memoir, and what I thought was cool about it was every chapter he would take a piece of like art and like use it as a symbol for a period of his life. So like he would talk about like the one I remember most distinctly was that he had talked about a chapter where he was in like I don't remember if it was a group home or if it was like a institution, mental institution or something. See, this dude went through a lot of stuff. But it was some kind of like juvie, like kids who are displaced kind of thing.
Yeah.
And basically, the chapter took Nirvana's In Utero as the symbol, and he talked about this kid that he had met, where like In Utero was his favorite album at the time and stuff, and like not only did he kind of critically write about the album, but he compared it to like this period in his life. So like this kid was emblematic of this album because this kid was like just angry all the time and just like a born troublemaker and just like stuff like that. And like I don't know, there's something about that book that that worked for me. That just like because it's really lame, but it's a way that I think about life too sometimes. Like, man, this was the album. I mean, we're doing it right now. Like, this was the album that kind of defined this period for me. Yeah. Just like stuff like that.
Okay.
And then the other one I read the other most recent one was a book called Killing Yourself to Live by Chuck Klosterman, who's kind of a famous critic also, but more of music.
Oh, music.
And the book was about, it was, I don't know if it was adapted from articles he had written or if he just wrote the book instead, but basically he was writing for a music magazine, and he had taken on this big adventure of like going to all these places where famous musicians had died.
Yeah.
And just writing about what those places were like and about them, about the people, and then also like how like death is involved with legacy and music history and stuff like that. So like he went to like the hotel where Sid Vicious and Nancy whatever
OD'd.
Yeah, and then he went to the like place where Leonard Skinner's plane crashed and like places like that. And I think he ended with Seattle, wherever the Kurt Cobain's house.
Ended with that?
Yeah. So like but like along the way he kind of went into a lot of like personal anecdotes and like little music critic things. Like there was a really funny part about how, and this like works totally for me because I was obsessed with the band Kiss at one point.
Yeah.
And he basically had this funny bit about like he compared all of his previous girlfriends to members of Kiss, and how like like these were the main four guys were like they were like these girlfriends were this way, and like I don't know, for some reason that's funny to me. It's like a very male thing, but like I don't know, that's funny and fun for me. So I don't know, I like critics and the way they interpret shit. So that was kind of
I didn't write this book down on my list, but the book I'm reading, this book that I'm reading now, called Artists, critics and context is a book I had to get for my modernism, postmodernism class, and it's a book that, I mean, it says in the title, but like it's all like either essays from artists or essays from critics or essays from people in the context of that time period. There's also interviews with the artist, and it's just great because I don't know a lot of critics, first of all. I don't know where to read artist essays, and this book has a lot of them, especially some from my favorite artists. So that's a book that I've really enjoyed reading so far. But the 5 ones that I have, first one is called Hollywood by Charles Bukowski. And Charles Bukowski might be my favorite writer ever. But also I don't know a lot of writers, so I can't say.
Yeah.
But I just...
Great that we chose to talk about books.
I know. But it's so
yeah, whatever.
fun.
It's
Yeah.
just putting stuff out there.
Hollywood, though, because Charles Bukowski is kind of like... he's like he's a super duper alcoholic, the alcoholic, and just a lot of his other writing was kind of like super negative and just I don't know how to describe it, but Hollywood is like his later years where he's kind of chillaxed. I think he got into Buddhism a little bit, but he just became more of a chill dude.
He got really into the 70s.
Yeah, he just lost it. But this book is about him writing a screenplay, which is all of his books are from. It's called Barfly, the movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I'd like to see it. But all of his books are pretty much based on his real life that he kind of.
So it's a book about him writing the screenplay that became the movie. Barfly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, the book pretty much really happened, but I'm sure he fictionalized some things. But so there's that one. Second one I put is The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway.
Yeah.
And I should say this. The thing with me with books is, like, the thing you did about Catcher in the Rye, how you remember that exact thing. I can hardly ever remember scenes in books or, like, what people said. I can remember usually how they made me feel. And I know, like, The Sun Also Rises is more of, like, because a lot of Hemingway's books are like super manly or like based in war type stuff. Yeah. And this book is still a bit manly, but it's a bit more romantic because he falls in love, or at least he was in love with this girl named like Brett, I'm pretty sure. And he sees her in Paris or Spain or something. And then they kind of fall back in love while they're there.
And then he meets Woody Allen.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's a real romantic type of story. And I really did. I read it like a few times. But
I like all of the little like quotes and things that I've read from Hemingway. I've always really liked. So
yeah, his books are great because it's kind of like Bukowski. Both of them I like a lot because their writing is like to the point. There's not a lot of fancy words. It's real simple. Yeah. And just cut and dry. But there's a lot of power in the sentences.
Yeah. I think I have For Whom the Bell Tolls.
I read that one too. I think that one's about an Italian officer dude in some war.
One of them is about a paramedic in World War One.
Oh, okay. That might be For Whom the Bell Tolls. Or
Farewell to Arms.
Or Farewell to Arms. Yeah. I forget which ones.
So your number one Hemingway resource.
Not
this podcast.
Yeah. This one I don't know how many people would know, but it's a book of poetry. It's called Selfish by Albert Goldbarth. And I don't know a lot of poetry. I'm getting more into it now, but this is like I think probably the first book of poetry I ever got. Maybe. But it's really I like it a lot. I read it almost every week. But this guy's from Wichita, so that makes it cooler. Third book is called The Book by Alan Watts, which is...
I was kind of looking at this.
Yeah.
It's on the table right now, so...
hold on. Okay, it's either the book or Become What You Are by Alan Watts, which are one of my favorites. Mainly because after I did mushrooms for the first time, I
got woke.
I got into reading, or more into reading, especially more... or just being more aware of spiritual-esque books. I wouldn't say Alan Watts books are like spiritual per se, But
I might borrow.
you
this
should
and
dig
read a
into
couple-
it because it's
read
really
a couple parts.
yeah, it's not that long.
There was one.
Uh,
Never mind. Go ahead.
But Become What You Are is basically it's kind of like the book in a way, but I don't even know how to explain it. I won't even try. But it was basically like it was the first book I read, like spiritual type book I read after I took mushrooms, and so it was one of those things that led me to it was like a little click in
Yeah.
the path of Jacob Gash's life that helped me
Yeah,
along.
a little notch.
Yeah, a little notch.
Yeah.
And then the last book I put is Love is a Dog from Hell by Bukowski as well, which is a book of poetry. And
Okay.
that book, I have a real connection with that book of poetry because it helped me get through a lot of like rough lovey-dovey times not in high school but in college because I had a lot of things in college happen.
That's all my favorite albums. So we'll coming
See,
coming up.
Instead of album, well, there's a few albums that are lovey-dovey, but yeah, this one that's basically it. Got me through some like lovey-dovey, hard times, and I still read it every now and again. So there's that. So there, last one, albums. This podcast.
Okay, do you have any? This is gonna be a
little longer,
a deluxe episode, but do you have any guesses?
Whoa. I know there has to be an Oasis album on there, but I just don't know
the names of them.
I'm gonna say the second Oasis album. I don't know the name of it.
You'll find out, I suppose.
After these messages.
Yeah.
That aren't happening.
The only guesses I have for you would be, do you have To Be Kind on there? Or
oh man, that would have been a good one. I didn't think about that.
Okay.
You're good at guessing ones that I didn't think of.
I know more about you than you
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Loveless, maybe?
Oh, that would have been a good one too.
I listened to that today, actually.
I love that album. But yeah, it's not on
It Doesn't Love You, because that's the title.
Yeah, it's not on there.
Okay. Well, do you want to go first?
Yes.
Okay.
First album I put on there, which might be kind of
A hot take?
yeah, I guess so. But my first one I put on was the White Album by the Beatles.
Okay, interesting.
I know, interesting choice.
Yeah.
I think because it's not that I listened to it a lot or anything, but I think that album has something a little to do with my childhood. I just remember like riding in the car with like that and it's like Sgt. Pepper's, just riding in the car with like my aunt or my mom like in California or something, and just that album would be on all the time. And there's just a lot of good fucking songs on there. And the last time I listened to it, I actually listened to the lyrics a lot more. I'm like, wow, these lyrics are pretty psychedelic, man. It's insane. I remember is the song called Glass Onion?
Yeah.
That song really tripped me out last time I listened to it. But that album also really, for some reason, made me super appreciate how amazing the Beatles are at writing like just the catchiest tunes.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. I don't understand how they did it. But, so there's that one.
Yeah.
Second one I put is Kid A by Radiohead.
Okay.
I figured I had to put a Radiohead album.
Okay. Computer.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
So yeah, Kid A, that one, I don't know. That one might have been one of my first.
What was the first Radiohead album that you had heard?
I think In Rainbows, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe the first one.
Okay Computer was definitely the first one I ever listened to.
That was one of my last ones I've listened to.
Really?
Yeah, even though it's one of their first albums. I've never heard Pablo
It's
Honey
their
all the way through.
third.
Yeah.
But
Kid A, I think is my favorite Radiohead album. That or their last one I like a lot, but that seems like one of their most experimental is Kid A, and just a lot of good shit on there.
Yeah, my brother had listened to a lot of Radiohead when I was younger, and so that was sort of like what you talking about the Beatles.
Oh,
so OK Computer for sure,
man,
like deeply ingrained in my head. Like when I There are some albums where I remember like when putting them on for the first time
Yeah.
and thinking like, I've heard this before and I didn't know it.
Whoa.
You know, like OK Computer for sure, and mostly it's because of my brother.
Yeah.
Because my brother listened to a lot of Paul McCartney and Wings and Radiohead and Pink Floyd and stuff. So, like OK Computer, I remember like that song Airbag, the first one, with the riff that was like boom doo doo doo. That was like that's like programmed into my mind.
Dude, you should check out that. I think Spotify still has it on, but I told you about that conspiracy about how M Rainbows and OK Computer are supposed to be one album, like together. But there's a playlist on how they were supposedly supposed to be arranged.
That guy.
And it's really cool.
Okay, in that book I was talking about, Killing Yourself to Live, that guy Chuck Klosterman writes about Kid A. This is kind of fun. This is actually good content right here for this podcast. He was talking about how Kid A is like a prophetic of 9/11 because it's like the first song is everything in its right place. Everything was cool, right? Yeah. And then it was like, what's the second song?
I don't know. Like
Kid A, maybe?
Yeah, actually, it might be.
But by the third one, I think third song's National Anthem. Third or fourth song is, because then How to Disappear Completely is like the sad part. Basically, he has this whole theory about how September 11th, like as a day, like chronologically, Kid A describes each part.
October 1st, 2000. So everything in its right place. Kid A, the National Anthem.
So National Anthem
completely.
Yeah. Okay. So National Anthem is like the event, I think, is maybe the first tower or something. That's what he was talking. That was his theory.
And then How to Disappear Completely
is like the sad part, because man, that is a beautiful song. How to Disappear Completely. Like there is a note in that song towards the end where he does the like, he's doing the like ah, 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 and he's doing that stuff, and then he hits one note that's like ah, yeah, and I'm like, it's so good. You'll know it when you hear it. It's so fucking good.
This Tree Fingers, Optimistic in Limbo, Idiotech, Morning Bell.
Optimistic in Limbo. Hello, the truth is out there.
That's kind of creepy.
I'll dig up that link and send it to you.
Yeah, that'd be fucking awesome to read. So Kid A, third one is I don't know if you know this band. You know Sun Kill Moon?
Yeah.
Their album Benji is one of my favorite albums.
Okay, I remember that one.
I just love it. But
I just
love it. I can't really say I can't say anything else. It reminds me of just road tripping for some reason. Like the first time, I don't know if it was the first time I heard it or just one of the first times was I always would, whenever me and my mom would go to the Nelson, I would just put it on and listen to it. So I just remember this like it's road trip type of stuff. Like kind of going back to just like nice memories. I haven't listened to it in a while, and Carissa just always gets to me. That song, like, it's super. I don't know if it is. It is sad, but also just like I don't know.
I really have to go to the bathroom.
Oh, okay. I'll finish my thing. No, I'm just gonna keep talking. Okay. So yeah, Benji. Don't know what to talk about Benji. Maybe I'll just stop talking about Benji. Diddly blue do on little body. Next podcast, a guest might be in the making, so people who listen to this podcast, get ready for a surprise guest if possible. Also, for some reason, we always do the podcast in complete darkness with one candle burning. I was just thinking about that mid-podcast. I was like, why don't we always turn the lights off and just put a candle on?
Because it's good mood.
Yeah.
That was so relieving. That was like a 20-minute hold.
Oh my god.
I feel like Atlas, but I've like let go of the world.
Dude.
I've lifted the world off my shoulders.
That is a very awesome feeling after you hold in a pee and
that sound. What was your line in Conqueror? You say like,
"Oh,
that was like taking a leak."
When you haven't taken a leak
in a while.
I was thinking of like, I was thinking of a David Lynch thing. Like it seemed like a David Lynch type thing.
Bit of dialogue.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Fourth one is I figured I had to put an ambient album on there. And Stars of the Lid is my favorite ambient.
Stars of the Lid.
And then my favorite album I think by them is The Tired Sounds of Stars of the Lid. I think it's like it might be 2 or 2.5 hours.
God.
And it's just a great
God help your soul.
Sounds. It's amazing. I don't know what to say.
I think it's finally time that we came out and said that we actually do like ambient music.
Do you like ambient music?
I like some. I don't really go out of my way to listen to it.
Oh, okay.
I like Brian Eno's ambient music, and I like some stuff here and there. So I don't like seek it out like you do though.
Yeah, I seek it out. Seek that shit out.
Like I don't know who Chi-Hi is.
I don't know if he's a Japanese ambient artist. Maybe in the underground Japanese world, he's like the hottest shit.
Tell me when you're listening to Harold Budd.
Oh, you know Harold Budd?
He collabed with Brian Eno on that one album.
Yeah, I don't know if I've listened. Harold Budd's kind of good though.
That's funny because I didn't expect you to know him.
Dude, hit me with anything.
Hit me with the ambient.
So the last one I put is I figured I had to put a rap album on there. So I put Good Kid, Mad City. because I sincerely really love...
That is one of the greatest rap albums.
Yeah, I love that album a lot. And I just figured because I could still listen to it and just like still love it.
Yeah.
And I like it a lot because it has such an interesting...
It's a story.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a real story or a fictional story, but...
I think it's a fictional story.
It seems super real, but also probably is fictional. And I think it was the first time I listened to it was like senior year of high school.
Were you?
And it's a cool driving around
at that party? At that party the other night?
Yeah.
Were you in the circle and you're talking about Kendrick Lamar? Where I kind of went on a Kendrick, like I just started talking about.
I was in that circle because I think you were talking to me, but no one else was listening really.
No, everybody was listening. It just became like too many people were listening. You know, like when you start giving your opinion on something and then too many people start to listen, and then you're like, I'm not trying to preach or anything.
Was this in the smaller room?
Yeah,
okay,
it was like and there was like people were talking about like, damn, was so good, and I was like, damn's all right. I don't know.
Yeah.
And like, but To Pimp a Butterfly, and I was like, yeah, that is a good one. Conceptually, I like it. Musically, I don't know. I can't get into To Pimp a Butterfly as like a musical experience. Like I think it's a little bit too splatter paint. Like there's so many. Like it's too. There's so many different things going on.
Yeah.
And, like, often it just veers into totally experimental, like, territory to the point where it's, like, really abrasive or just really eclectic in a way that I don't. I just don't. I can't listen to it and be like, yeah, it's my jam, dude.
Oh,
I don't know.
I see. No.
Like that, like, I don't know. There's a song, like, this dick ain't free, and that stuff. And I'm just like... I really appreciate what he's saying, and I think the album is a big moment. But like as a piece of music,
now I
it's not doing it for me.
I didn't understand what you meant at first when you said you enjoyed it conceptually, not musically. But now I understand what you're saying.
King Kunta though is a fucking all-time jam. Great song, but
see, I think you said this, but I wouldn't listen to songs from that. Maybe King Kunta, but I don't think I would listen to songs from that album. I would listen to the full album to get the experience.
Yeah. So, but then on the other hand, I think Good Kid, Mad City is like an amazing album. Yeah. It is good songs. It's a story that is really super symbolic and
you can listen to songs from that, and it still feels like you're getting part of the experience, but listening to it in a whole is just incredible.
Backseat Freestyle.
Awesome. I was just thinking about that. I go so hard on that song.
Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe. All those songs are great.
I don't like Bitch to Kill My Vibe as much just because I think it was really popular, so I listened
to it. That was Pitchfork's #1 song of that year.
Wow.
Yeah. Fuck Pitchfork. but also I
sure.
still read you sometimes. Pitchfork.
They're the only.
If you want to hire me, okay, I'll take the job, I guess.
There you go.
Okay.
For it, homeboy.
So this was it's really difficult because, like, I've listened to so much music and it's so like difficult to sort these things. And honestly, like, I kept trying to like think about albums that were my favorite albums, like in different parts of my life and stuff. And a lot of times, like, I was thinking like Pink Floyd's The Wall was one of
Yeah.
my favorite albums, but I just don't listen to it very much anymore, if at all.
Yeah.
I still think it's, I mean, it's a great album, but like, I just don't listen to it very much anymore. And like,
But as a kid, it's amazing.
yeah, when I was 14, like 13,
Uh-huh.
14, I was like, I loved it. And then there's just like scattered albums like that where like I really like them, but I don't listen to them anymore, I guess, and like stuff like that. So like uh all of these are pretty much from when I was 17. Like
Okay.
because I haven't found, I guess, nothing that I found like as of late is like, or I guess of the past so many years is like really like, I don't know, like albums that I think about a lot or like that I listen to all the time. But I think that's probably because I was more into like, I was more invested in watching movies maybe.
Yeah. So you listened to the albums and like wrote about them, didn't you?
Yeah,
For your school.
I was the review writer for my high school newspaper, for a couple of years. But all these are albums that I discovered when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like you said, like, I don't know, this is all stuff that was like for me like cathartic because I had girl problems and I had and whatever,
Yeah.
and I was like discovering who I was and shit like that. So all right, number one, not necessarily my favorite album of all time, number one, but like first one, The Monitor by Titus Andronicus.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Saw that one coming. At
yeah,
least Titus Andronicus.
yeah. I mean, it's an album that is perfect front to end for me. I think like it goes so many different places and there's so many good like musical ideas and the lyricism is just incredible. I think Patrick Stickles from Titus Andronicus is like the best songwriter going right now. Like everything he writes is super like clever and smart, but also really like simple in some ways. It has a lot of like I don't know, he's an intellectual guy and he references a lot of stuff. Like the band's name, Titus Andronicus, is from a Shakespearean play. And I think he did that because he wanted to appear smart or something.
Yeah.
Like they picked the name just so that they could look smart.
Uh-huh.
But like, I mean, if you keep going in their lyrics, it's all just these historical allusions and things. The album The Monitor, 2010, it's like it's this really big metaphor for like it's about the Civil War. The Monitor was one of the first ironclad ships to ever fight.
Wow.
The Civil War had the first battle between two ironclad ships, which was called the Battle of Hampton Roads, which is the name of the last song on the album.
Oh, okay.
And it has the Civil War, and there's a lot of lyrics about that, but it's just a metaphor for like an internal struggle, essentially, and yeah, like I said, it's just really great lyricism, but it's a punk album, but it also takes influences from a lot of different stuff. Like they love Bruce Springsteen, so there's lots of like there's piano and there's strings and all this stuff. Really big production. But like at the end, but at the real heart of it, there's a lot of really simple to the point statements that are really cathartic. Like the third song is called No Future Part 3, Return from No Future, I think. Or it's either, I sound like an idiot because I just said this is my favorite album. I don't know the name of the song 100%, but I think it's No Future Part 3, Escape from No Future, I think is the title. But the important part is the last like 2 minutes of the song is just this refrain where he says, You will always be a loser. And they repeat that for like 2 minutes. And then by the end, he says, and that's okay. And then the song ends. And I thought,
Is that the end of the album?
That's the end of the song. It was the third song of 10.
Oh, okay.
And like, I don't know, it was just really like something like really important for me to hear, I guess, at the time. And still, I think that's an amazing song because I think what draws me to a lot of punk music is stuff like that where it's really short and sweet, to the point, but like for you as a person, it can mean a lot. Mm-hmm. Like to say very simple things. And a lot of my videos, I take punk lyrics for their titles or for their context or whatever, because I like those things. Like I like "You Will Always Be a Loser" or something. "No Gods, No Managers." That's the title of an album by the band Choking Victim. Oh. But like I just like that phrase because it's like it says a lot without saying much. You know, like for me that means like authority won't tell me what to do. Like I'm always going to be my own person, and I have no loyalty to anyone except myself and stuff like that. And so I don't know. Titus Andronicus is doing the punk thing better than anyone going right now. I think they're one of the best bands in the world, like that are actively making music. And like some of my other favorite bands are actively making music. I think Titus Andronicus is the only people making good music actively. So the second album I wrote down, which I would have told you is my favorite album for probably 3 or so years of my life, is Pinkerton by Weezer. Which, again, at 17, it was just incredibly important for me to hear. Like, and
which album is that again?
It's their second album. Okay. It's got a black cover that's like a Japanese artwork that has this little farm thing. I had always liked Weezer, but like I never really got into Pinkerton. And then by the time I had heard it, like I think El Scorcho was the first song to really really get me into it, because when I heard El Scorcho, I was like I just like, man, that makes so much sense. It's this really like, you know, crushing on somebody anthem that I related to, and it's got this quirkiness to it and this sort of like lack of confidence, but like a totally cathartic, like strong riff and stuff like that. And like, I really just grew to love every moment of that album. And I had read Rivers Cuomo put out a book called The Pinkerton Diaries, and I got that as a gift for Christmas, and it was a really, really intense cataloging of his life at the time when he was writing the album.
I feel like you told me about this. Was he into like some underage girl or something?
So that's the topic of the song "Across the Sea." I'm gonna get into that in a second, because that's like one of my favorite songs ever. But the book really put a lot of context to the album, and that continued to get me really interested in Rivers Cuomo as a person.
Who's that guy?
The singer, writer, the guy from Weezer. And like the one specific thing that I always remember is that there was a part of the book where, and this is all written in 96 or 95 when he was writing this album, but so he was born with one of his legs was slightly longer than the other one, and he had this surgery to elongate the other one so that he was normal, right? And he had this really elaborate surgery and like metal brace that he had to wear. And there's a really great video of the performance from Saturday Night Live at the time where he had the brace on. And so what he did was he wore these big sweatpants over them. Yeah. And he's just standing there, like he can't move very much. He's just like just totally stoic. And all the other band members make up for it. Like they knew that was what it was going to be like, that he couldn't move a lot. So like Matt Stone, the bass player, is like really just getting it, just like bass all over the place, just crazy. And they play "Say It Ain't So." It's fucking great. In the book, he has some writing from the time where he had the brace on, and he had like a I don't know. I guess the doctor had told him to do this. He had like every day he had to have to write how much pain he was in on a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah.
And then he had graphed it like over time. So and it was just really like he was in all this pain for a long time because of this procedure and this leg brace thing. And like, I don't know, that just like really struck me as being a sign of a really unhappy person. And like when you learn so much about the kind of person that writes like songs like this, you like really have to empathize. And the song that really came to be one of my favorite songs ever because it's just really heartbreaking is the song "Across the Sea," which is what you were talking about, where the lyrics are basically about how, and you have to put this in perspective of it being before the internet, and think about like how fans don't know a lot about rock stars because they can't go on Wikipedia and look up all the information about them. So the song is basically about how he had received a letter from this girl in Japan who wanted to just like know stuff about him, like his birthday and his favorite food and stuff like that. And for him, it was just really crushing because I guess he was dealing with this like issue of not feeling loved, but also being a rock star and having a lot of people around you that are always trying to act like they love you and having lots of fans who scream for you and stuff, but like not actually ever feeling connection with anyone. And that's also what the album is about in general. It's just like this difference between love and sex and being like loving someone and but also succumbing to your lust. And like the first song is called "Tired of Sex." Which it's funny because like when you think about this album, or for a lot of people they think about it, and it's like it's just this album full of beta anthems, and it's like the first song is called "Tired of Sex," but I think it's like a really sad song because it's just him talking about like Monday night I'm having this girl, Tuesday night I'm having that girl, but I'm not in love and I can't find anybody to love and I'm really lonely. Whoa. And then by the end it's a song called "Butterfly," which is a song about how he did find somebody he was in love with, but then he had sex with all these girls and he couldn't be in a relationship. So it's just this really just tragic album about like not being able to connect with people. And for me, that was really, really heartbreaking at the time. And "Across the Sea" is a song where whenever I hear it still, I'm just like blown away. 'Cause yeah, it's about that whole thing about fans and fame and love, and there's a part where where it gets quiet for a while, and he says like, I think the lyrics are, like, "When I was a kid, I shaved my head and tried to be a monk. I thought the older women would like me if I did," because he grew up on this weird like yogi farm. Whoa. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe you relate to that. But, like, I don't know. He goes into this, and he says something about, like, I have to live on an island to find the juice, and you send me your love from all around the world, and as if I could live on the words and screams, the words and dreams and a million screams, oh, how I need a hand in mine to feel, or something like that. It's really fucking really tragic. And I don't know, it's like the first time I heard something that just really felt real and sad and human. So like when I was obsessed with that album for a very long time. So there's that. And then you were right. I said "Definitely Maybe," which is Oasis's first album.
Oh, okay.
Which I was more into "What's the Story, Morning Glory," which is their second album.
Yeah.
In high school. But when I really got into Oasis, I really developed the appreciation for the first album. And that's a whole nother podcast series as to why I really like that one. But yeah, I really came to love the first album, Definitely Maybe, and every song on there is great. And I don't know. like I said, I can't go into it or it'll take too long. And then I wrote You're Gonna Miss It All, which is by Modern Baseball.
Oh, okay.
Which again is another album where I'm not really listening to it a lot now.
But in high school.
But man, it was just every song on there is an anthem. They're just great songwriters. Really, really important band for me. Again, yeah, about like girl problems and just figuring out life and learning about yourself. And what they do that I think is really interesting is they write about very specific things and they have a lot of details. So they might describe a party and an inside joke and stuff like that. But like for me, it just reads as like, oh, I have things like this. Like I have memories like this. I have inside jokes like this, and so I don't know. The song "Your Graduation"
Yeah.
is the big climax on that one, and it is a fucking hitter. Everyone I know back home who's heard that song knows like what that's like and how that and like that song strikes people's hearts like really like seriously. And I don't know, for me it's just totally, I don't know, I've heard it so much now that if I listen to it now I'd be trying too hard maybe. So
Yeah.
I need to give it some time. But yeah, super super good album. Really important to me. And then the last one I wrote, again, In the Airplane Over the Sea, Neutral Milk Hotel. You can't, I don't know. It's, again,
That one's a touchy album.
yeah, it is just, every song is great. Every song is so powerful and just really heartbreaking and moving and great musicality, and the instrumentation and everything is great. And I saw Neutral Milk Hotel. I've actually seen all of those bands except for Oasis doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So I've seen both Noel and Liam live. So
that's awesome. I've seen zero of the bands. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Titus Andronicus was one of the best concerts. Just again, really, really moving. Weezer was one of the most disappointing concerts I've ever seen.
Told me about that.
They just played every note for note, and it felt really programmed and robotic. And I don't know. Modern Baseball was a lot of fun. I don't know if they're broken up, so I don't know if you will get another chance. I saw them twice, both times awesome. And Neutral Milk Hotel was a lot of fun, although it was like kind of mysterious.
That
like
fucking great.
they were really. I saw them twice too. I guess
What?
I saw them in St. Louis and here. Yeah, cool band, cool album. Get your feelings on. Check out these albums.
Also, check out, since we're at the last straw of the podcast, I don't know if you are, probably not, but I'm going to see Brian Jonestown Massacre pretty soon, which they're one of my favorite bands, which I don't really know what they're going to play, but that perhaps could be a podcast.
We just talk about that, or
I guess.
about your experience at
Well, it made me think of like when you were describing the Nutrimilk Hotel concert thing. Oh, maybe it'd be cool to talk about. You have a lot more concert experiences than I do. I haven't been to that many concerts, but.
All right, well,
let's end it.
Yeah, time to wrap it up. Good cast. Lots. We talked about a lot of shit.
I didn't expect that 5 thing to go for an hour and a half.
I started to think it was going to take a long time. After a little while,
I thought the album thing was going to be another hour for a second.
Yeah, sorry, I got real in detail, but.
Anyways,
all right.
Okay. Maybe next time there'll be a guest.
Check out the space. It's going to be a link in the description.
Also, meeting people happening this Saturday.
Come out this weekend.
6 o'clock.
Who knows when this episode goes up? So that's February 28th is when that is going to premiere. So maybe
April
the 28th.
We're going back in time.
Wow, I didn't realize it was April. I feel like I've been stuck in February for a long time.
Jesus, yeah, get out of February. No one needs that month anymore.
So that's coming up soon. All right, well, we're about to hit the 1:30. Bye.
Goodbye.